Hey guys, FMS26 here, and welcome back to highlights of RGL and SRL Season 1, and we're here for Round 2 around Sakir International Circuit in Bahrain under the floodlights. We had a week break last week due to the F1 Esports finals, so we're back again after our emphatic and incredible win in Australia. Still can't really believe that one. To try and continue the momentum into another of my statistically stronger tracks around Bahrain here, but we've got a lot of quick drivers. We've got VSR Clone Troop ARF1 driver and VSR Thomas, who's also very quick as well, who've joined the league for this one. So it's not going to be looking likely that we'll be getting another win or even a podium anytime soon, to be honest, because there's 5 or 6 drivers who are probably quicker than me. This lap's been alright so far. We're looking for a 26.7, maybe if we nail it a 26.6, that's still possible at this stage. This stuff seems pretty solid. KJ puts it on pole at the moment as we negotiate the double left-hander there without running in too deep despite a slight lock-up on the front left. Joe then puts it in with a 26.5, which I'm not getting anywhere near. As we head down towards sector 3, we could have been more aggressive through there, I feel. Left a bit too much on the table. But that's not the end of the world as we head through this flat right-hander, at least in qualifying, and for the most of the race as well, heading down to the penultimate proper corner, running the car out wide on the curb as we prepare ourselves for the last corner, third gear probably, and hopefully we can get a good exit from here for the run to the line. That's pretty good, but we just got a bit of oversteer on the curb there, and that's going to cost us all the way to the line. And it's going to still be an improvement on our super soft run that we backed out of, but it's a 1 minute 26.8, which is not quite what I wanted, but still reasonably solid, not a complete bottle job. And it's It's Joe who takes pole here, just like in Australia, with KJ in second, Ronan in third, Ollie Bob in fourth, myself in fifth, and Thomas in sixth. And look at how close that is from second to sixth, under a tenth there. If Thomas had been a tenth quicker, he would have been second, which I'm sure is very annoying for him. It's Triboogie in seventh, and my teammate Langman, who bottled the middle sector, apparently down in eighth. So yeah, we head now to the race, and we're here on the grid for what will be a one-stop shock, despite the fact Jeff is suggesting otherwise. We're going to do soft, medium, as you've seen in like the 3 or 4 previous Bahrain races I've uploaded from this game. That is the one. Don't need to actually change the setup for once, put a bit of extra fuel in the car, and that should be us ready to go here in Bahrain for round 2 of RGL and SRL. We have 3 lights, now we have 4, and it's 5 lights on here. And it's lights out and away we go under the floodlights in Bahrain. It's not been a great start. Joe moves over immediately from the lead to cover KJ. We've got Thomas up the inside. He's had a cracking start. He's having a look at Ollie into turn 1. We're going to hold the outside line as Ollie's hit Ronan there. Can we avoid that around the outside? Ronan's gone for a spin, and that's actually lucked us into P4 here, with Langman also making up places up to P5. And he's having a look at us as we head down towards turn number 4 here for the first time. And if he's later in the brakes, we'll probably just let him go. We've run in quite deep, and I think we're going to back out of this one. He will be quicker than me despite him bottling qualifying. We just need to make sure we don't let Boogie through in the process, and indeed we don't. So good start for us. We've kept our wing intact, avoided the contact at turn 1, which was probably lag. Ronan was lagging. Ollie Bob's probably been a bit too aggressive as well, but it doesn't bother us. We've managed to not get involved. Ollie's out of the question now. He's got damage. Ronan's out of the race. So we just need to focus on the 4 ahead of us. Clone Troop bottle qualifying, and he's obviously very quick as well, so he'll be coming through the field at some point, and just need to see what we can make of that as we head through sector 3, just behind Langman, who was a bit slow through the double left-hander, but he's appeared to have picked up his pace now, and it'll just be a question of whether we can stick with him as he chases up to the top 3. My pace is not as good around here as Australia. It's still pretty good, but obviously these are some of the top drivers on the game that we're competing with here, and I'm definitely not at that level. It is fair to say, but we'll do our best. We'll see if we can stick with them as Joe sets the fastest lap as we follow Langman across the line for the end of that one. And not much happened, I'll be honest. As he skips to the end of lap 8, we're still a bit behind Langman. He's caught up to KJ, and they've battled, which means I've been able to not fall back. Boogie's still with me as well, just over a second back, so It's looking pretty mental at this stage as Langman's having a look up the inside of the McLaren into turn 1. Can he get it stopped just about? And he's going to take that move around the outside of turn 2, I think, and indeed he does. Good move from our teammate there to move him up into the podium positions, but KJ is having a look back on him as they run down towards turn 4. He's going off the track almost to make sure he gets the inside line, and he's got the move done. Langman going to go for the cutback now towards turn 5 and 6, I think this is, and KJ is actually able to get around the outside, and Langman's not able to get the cutback, but he's going to have a look around the outside of turn number 8, and it's just so slow through there. We've almost run into the back of our teammate, and KJ maintains the position for now, but all the while Thomas and Joe are pulling away here as we head towards turn 9 and 10. Langman's missed his braking point there and running way too deep, which is going to allow us to take the position as well as he rejoins on top of us, but we're going to take this position here. We've seen an opportunity. Langman's made the mistake, and indeed we do take the position into turn number 11 here. Although we messed up the apex, Langman's going to come for the cut back on us, which is really counterproductive because we need to be working together to keep with KJ here as we head through turn 12, and we've lost it on the curb there. Just about managed to hold it, luckily not to collect Langman. Boogie goes through, and we've rejoined on top of Clone Troop there, which is poor from me, so I have to let him through there. But yeah, just Langman trying to go side by side. I was too conscious about giving him the room. Clone Troop thanks us for letting him through. And as a result, I've got up on the curb and lost the car. Lucky not to veer across the track left and collect my teammate, because I'm sure that would not have gone down well in the party, as Langman does dive into the pits as well as KJ at the end of lap 9. That is pretty early in my opinion, as we're now going to have a look at the Williams of Clone Troop into turn 1. He's lagging a bit. Are we later on the brakes? Yes, we are. Can we hang it around the outside? No, we don't have the grip in the tyres anymore. And Clone Troop successfully defends that position into turn 1. And we'll just be continuing on our way. We'll probably come in this lap because we don't want to get undercut too much, but let's have a look at the replay now. So we're on side by side as I've just turned in a bit too much there, conscious of Langman on my outside. We've corrected the car and ended up off the track. Luckily there's a big run off there, but it still did pretty well not to spin the car, because that is definitely something that you can do if you drop the car in that place. As we head around the final corner here on lap number 10, we will be heading into the pits. Clone Troop stays out for another one. Boogie's coming in as well, so hopefully we can jump in. We've been a bit more aggressive on the pit entry than he has as we head towards the Ferrari pit box here. Joe has been held up massively by us there in the Mercedes, as he's now only pulled out of his stop. And that's going to cost him a lot in his battle with KJ and Thomas. Thomas actually stayed out another lap, which could actually be beneficial if he still has a life in the tyres, because as you're about to see, the mediums around this track, oh dear, they take a while to warm up. As we now exit the pit lane, Langman goes past there, and we're still behind Boogie, as Langman's not far behind Joe there. But yeah, still a lot of people still to pit. We're currently down in P10 as we've almost dropped it through turn 2, which would have been disastrous, but just managing to get the opposite lock on to save it, as we're now behind the Toro Rosso. We're going to try and make a move early, maybe when he's not expecting it. Hopefully we can get the tyres warmed up in the window more quickly to give us the advantage. I think my pace was better than him. I had started to drop him at the end of the stint before the mistake whilst battling with Langman, so I'll be quite disappointed if I can't get past him, and then hopefully get after the top 6 or 5, yeah, 5 I think, and hopefully do our best just to battle with those guys. If they can battle, we'll just be able to stick with them, but as I'm currently not in the DRS of those guys, and they will be having DRS on each other, if I do get past Boogie, it'll be difficult to catch up to them due to the fact that the DRS is so powerful in allowing you to maintain lap time, and they'll have to waste a lot of ERS trying to catch up to that train, but obviously I'll give it my best shot. I'm not going to just take 5th or 6th or whatever position it is. I think it's 6th. But yes, we're going to try and get higher than that, but at the end of the day, anything more is a bonus when I am racing drivers of that calibre. But we've got a reasonable run off the last corner. We're going to have DRS. KJ sets the fastest lap, as we now have the DRS on the Toro, so he's holding the racing line. We're going to use a bit of overtake ERS here as we fly past him. That moves us up into 9th. Ginger Ninja's in the pits, which moves us up into position 8. And there's Clone Troop, who's managed to stay out another lap and still stay ahead of us. And we've got the move done on Boogie there, up into what is a net P6 with Ben JP and Warden still to pit here. And yeah, that's not bad. And as we skip to the end of the lap, Clone Troop's tyres have now got up to temperature, and we have caught up to him, but we've messed up the last corner, gone in a bit too deep on the brakes. As he goes defensive already, Joe sets the fastest lap of the race. We are probably a long way off that, but oh well. Clone Troop then goes back to the racing line. We're a long way back, so we're not going to be able to get the move done from here, but this is a good thing that we're in his DRS, and hopefully he can drag me up to Langman, etc., in the battle for the lead, because we're really not far off it. Ben JP was in the pits on that lap as well, so that moves us up into P7, net P6 obviously, as Warden's still out on those mediums, the only driver to try the alternate strategy here. As we skip to the end of lap number 15, we're still in the train, just about sticking in Clone Troop's DRS. He is caught up to Langman, and this is good. We are just about sticking with these guys, which means we are able to get involved if they battle, and they are battling Clone Troops up the inside of my teammate into turn 1. Can Langman hold it around the outside? Yes, he can. But Clone Troops trying to continue off the track, and they've made contact there. Langman's gone for a spin, and we just about managed to avoid it, but disastrous there for Langman, my teammate, and Clone Troop. I don't really know what Clone Troop was thinking. He's understeered off the track and tried to keep his foot in, which is definitely not the way to go, and as a result there's been contact there. We're lucky to avoid it. I just hope that they wouldn't come back across the track and pick the widest line possible, and luckily they didn't, and that's us up into P4 here as Warden pits at the end of that lap. So where the podium is in sight, and at this point I've been told by Joe that KJ has a penalty, so if I can stick within 3 seconds of these guys, which I'm just about managing at the moment, then I will be in podium range. As you can see, skipping a long way later on to lap 27, we have stuck with KJ, but he's dropped it pretty much into turn 9, and we've taken the position there up into the podium place, and as you can see, he's very slow, and that's because he has a puncture here on lap 27 with 2.5 laps to go. He's really not looked after his tyres. Meanwhile, we've completely dropped off the back of Thomas and Joe. Unsurprisingly, they were quicker. I mean, I've done my best, but as you can see, the gap is 4 seconds, I think that is, so not quite in their league today, unsurprisingly, but that was to be expected. But skipping to the start of the final lap now, it's our turn to look after the tyres. We have been very scared by KJ's puncture, and our tyre wear has been atrocious. I'm not hugely sure why, but oh well, these things happen. So that was a 32-1, a rapid lap at the end of lap 28, and this lap will probably be even slower, just going to coast round. Warden is a long way behind and also has a penalty, so we've got P3 in the bag unless we have a puncture. Thomas and Joe obviously out of the equation. Joe looks like he's got this under control, so we'll take the championship lead. As you can see, my tyres there, 80% on the rear left, which is not particularly what you want, and we're just going to coast it round here, so just be very cautious on the throttle through the traction zones and just avoid all the curbs pretty much, and bring it home for what should be our back-to-back podiums at the start of the season, which will be momentous really given the drivers we're against. There's a question over me being lucky, but I wouldn't say that. I mean, I don't know what percent KJ got his puncture on, but he did pit a lap earlier than me, and he was presumably pushing quite hard to stick with the guys ahead, so I think it's fair that I've driven more conservatively and more sensibly, and as a result been rewarded with the podium here, whereas KJ's got caught up in a puncture. Obviously Langman was very unlucky to get, in my opinion, taken out by Clone Troop, but yeah, we've driven sensibly, and as a result we're just about going to manage to hold on to our tyres despite Warden catching us up to us quite a lot at the end. As Joe wins the race, congrats to him. Thomas comes home second. As we come around the last corner and avoid getting a puncture, the fireworks go off. Not for me this time, but it's still a very good podium for myself here in Bahrain. It's third place with a 32.9 on the last lap, and yeah, I couldn't really be any happier with that result. That is a maximum that I could have taken from that race, and it's good to actually maximise the race for once instead of being left thinking maybe I could have had an extra couple of positions. But yeah, it's Joe who takes the win alongside Thomas in his debut and myself in third, and I maintain my 100% podium record in RGL for a third race. But yeah, a good one for me there. Pretty sweaty. The battle up front was amazing. Sadly I couldn't get involved in it, but oh well. And yeah, the results are on screen now. So congrats to Joe and Thomas, as mentioned. Warden did a solid drive on the alternate strategy, full P4, and Langman managed to hold on to P5 after KJ's puncture. So a good job from him after he got damage in the incident with Clone Troop. So I suspect Ferrari will still lead the constructors, and I can't tell you the rest of the results if I'm honest. I think it's Clone Troop in Ben JP in 6th, Clone Troop in 7th, Ollie Bob in 8th. Boogie in 9th and Ginger Ninja in 10th potentially. It's all on screen now. And yeah, that's been it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this race. It was a pretty decent one for me. Not maybe as entertaining as it could have been, but still managed to take home a good result. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you very soon. Goodbye.